So Australia has very many visas that you can use to bring your family to join you. And today we're going to discuss one of those visas, and it's the 485 visa. So with that, I'm going to be introducing a friend of mine who recently came through a 485 visa during the COVID time. So let's learn, enjoy.
Okay, I'm John Omamwa, aka Baba Imani, aka J.Oush.
J.Oush.
I was based in Eldoret.
Yes.
I'm married to someone who is here. We have a baby. That is baby Imani, my firstborn.
Oh, sweet name.
As they say, everything good happens when you're 40, even in the Bible. Everything was just 40. 40 in the wilderness, 40 in a lot of things. So
yeah.
I did my primary in Martin Luther, Nairobi. It's around Makadara, for those who know Makadara. And then high school, I went to my Form 1 I did in Narok High School. That is before I got my full scholarship to St. Anthony. Basketball scholarship in St. Anthony's, Kitale.
Way.
Yeah.
So good. Well, that's good. Now, that makes it interesting because I didn't hear Kitale, and that's where I met you. What were you doing in Kitale?
Yeah, before I went to Eldoret, immediately after high school in St. Anthony, I started doing my business in Kitale. That is where I set up my first shop.
That was your first job, and that's like what, 10 years ago?
Yeah, that is not even 10 years ago.
More
that
than?
Is in 2003.
Yeah.
Because immediately when I cleared high school, I started hawking movies. Yeah. And
umetoka
and after a while, I found this friend of mine. He's a very good friend. He's like a brother. He's called Dick. We combined forces and we set up a shop.
Yes.
Yeah, the shop that you were.
I used to be your customer all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Australian visa. This is the postgraduate visa that students normally apply for to continue their stay in Australia because one, they are not studying anymore, and also at this point they include their family members to come and join them in Australia. You could be married, it could be your partner or your children or your whoever. So the requirements for you to be able to apply for your family member to join is you have to be able to show proof of your relationship. That is, if you're married, a marriage certificate, and you have to be able to have the financial capacity to bring over your family. So when it comes to the immigration process for a family member to join the primary applicant of the 485 visa, who is currently in Australia, what are the requirements that we are looking for? So J.Oush in this case is the secondary applicant who is now family member, and there's a primary applicant who is the wife. So for J.Oush to join the wife, the first requirement that they had to provide was a proof of their relationship, which in this case is
marriage certificate,
to show that they are married couple, and that makes him a family of the primary applicant. So the other requirement that you need to do is have enough money to pay for the visa fee, which, if you would like to tell us,
it's 48,500
Kenyan shillings. And what else did you have to pay for?
I had to pay for biometrics, which is around 6,000 shillings. And then I had to pay for
the medicals,
which is around 18,500.
Yeah.
And then
There's a statutory declaration form.
there's a statutory declaration form. Now that one you don't pay for it, it's just a form that you
Yeah.
find it online and then you fill it,
Mhm.
and it's signed by either a lawyer,
Yeah.
a doctor, or any profession for
Yeah.
that matter.
Yeah, true. And then besides that, and when you have finalized that and loaded the visa, the immigration will communicate that you either have been granted or denied.
Yeah.
When you have been granted, there are also steps, especially during the COVID period, right?
Yeah.
So-
the process was different.
Yeah, even though you have a visa,
Yeah.
during this COVID protocol period, it does not guarantee you that you'll enter the Australian border.
Yeah.
You have to apply for something. What did you have to apply for?
Around this time of COVID-19 period, you have to apply for an exemption to enter Australia because Australia has had these borders locked for the period that we've been having the pandemic.
Yeah. It's been pretty long. And how long did the application for that pass take, like before you were granted one?
If I go back to the visa, I applied it in November and I got my visa in April 28th. Around the time they mailed me telling me to go and do my medicals, it was around the 1st of April. They told me I have to do my medicals before 28th of April.
Yeah, they give you.
And I did my medicals on the 14th of April, and my visa came back on the 28th of April. Thereafter, in May, I applied for in May 1st, I applied for my exemption to enter Australia, and it came back 7 days later.
That's good. And then after that, you have to make sure you have a ticket. And how much was the ticket? And how was it? How easy was it to get that ticket?
When I thought that all the other things were just hectic to get, but the flight part was a problem.
Yes.
Was the biggest challenge that I had.
I can only imagine.
Now getting flight was a problem because the Australian government has put some caps on the capacity of passengers that can fly in Australia because of the quarantine facilities. So the number of passengers per plane is between 10 and 15 around the time I flew.
Can you imagine?
And getting the flight was a problem.
Yes.
And the prices were just something else.
Yes, very.
Like my flight, the first flight that was cancelled was around 4,500 USD. And then it got cancelled because my wife paid for it from this end.
Yes.
And she didn't confirm. A mail for confirmation came because the name of the person paying for the flight and the passenger flying was different. So they thought it was a scam and they cancelled the flight because around the time she was asleep. Now the second flight that was cancelled was Egypt Air being operated by Etihad. It was a flight from Nairobi to Cairo. Cairo to Abu Dhabi, Abu Dhabi to Sydney.
So long.
So I was supposed to.
And then Sydney to Perth.
And then now that one was a local flight, so I was quarantined in Sydney. After 2 weeks, I fly into Perth. Now this one was cancelled because around the time is when again the Commonwealth government decided to reduce the caps by half.
Just tell us the price of that flight.
Now then there was Qatar Airways, the flight that I flew in with. The price was $8,413 US. And then they said they were calculating it with the rates of 112. That cost in Kenyan shillings it was 942,000 and a few hundreds.
Boy! Hey, it's like 1 million-ish.
Yeah, it was short of 1 million by 58,000.
Crazy. Thank you. So the whole process since you started applying and the way you got to Australia, what was your biggest challenge for you guys? What was the biggest challenge before you conquered this whole process?
I think the cancellation of flights
Yeah.
was just weighing down on both of us.
Yes.
because I was eager to see my child that I had not seen, who was born here. So every day we were just hoping and wishing that I can get a flight to fly in, come see them. And then, you know, her going to work and raising a child was just too much for her.
Of course.
I even pitied her more than I pitied myself.
Anyway, it is all done. Look,
it is all done. And
you're here. She
yeah.
has help, and the baby has daddy. So good.
Yeah.
So wow, thank you. Now, last question, not related to the visa, just a simple message that you will tell a young person or your younger self when you were 20 years. What is the message that you can give yourself today? 20-year Oush being given advice by the 40-year Oush.
Keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, live the boring life. It saves you a lot of troubles. Yeah. So that is the message you're telling a 20-year-old person. Why do you think living a boring life saves you a lot of trouble? What exactly is defined? What exactly did you define as boring when you were 20? Oh, you see, me growing up, I didn't have most privilege that a lot of people with both parents have, being an orphan.
Yeah.
So one thing for sure, I wasn't confident with myself. I didn't know even if I fit among my friends, my crew, because I was that guy who was kidogo laid back. I had kiere kidogo, but I had my limits.
Yeah, of course, behind the scenes.
So I think there's a lot that I missed around the time because I wasn't that confident.
Yeah. So for a young person, confidence is very important.
It is very important. Though me, I think it worked on my favor because it made me level-headed and a little disciplined. How I would have been being brought up with a good family who had good money around the time.
That's good. Thank you so much for coming today. I really appreciate your time and the knowledge that you have passed on. I'm pretty sure it's going to help someone out there who's looking for information about the 485 visa. I wish you nothing but success, you and your family, and enjoy the rest of your stay in Australia.
Thank you.